If you're still struggling in 1v1 situations, can't drop your shoulders to sell a move, or worse, you don't even know what that means, this is for you. Today I'm breaking down one body feint that every player should have in their bag. Easy to learn, it is deadly when timed right, and it's going to keep the defenders hesitate 100%. Let's get going. Well, what is it? This body feint is going to be a very simple technique where we basically pump, I call it the pump our body from the ground and to up. If you watch FC Barcelona's game quite a lot, you might be able to witness Lamine Yamal uses quite a lot. And obviously, he's not the only person that uses it, so don't victimize me for saying that. Now let's get into it. The first thing is going to be how to create the pumping motion. So the pump, which I call, is this motion here. And how do we do this? Now the first step is going to be keeping your feet just a little bit wider than shoulder width, and we're going to come actually slightly out to the side, so that way the ball ends up on either side of the foot that you're going to do the pump with. In this case, I'm going to be doing my pump with my left foot, so I will be leaving the foot next to the ball. So with our foot next to the ball, what we are going to do is we're going to be making this pumping motion here. But key thing to understand is that we're not coming down heavy like this. We shouldn't be heel forward. We should actually be toes forward. And the reason is, naturally, as I put my toes on the ground first, and if I were to absorb all of my body weight into the toes, ankle, and my knees, what happens is my shoulders will naturally drop together. Because if I just come heavy, I just might stop here like this, which doesn't exactly move tilt my upper body. So what we want to do, ultimately, is to learn how to tilt our body, and we do so by absorbing our body weight on our toes, ankle, and also our knee. So it'll look like this as I pump. My shoulders tilt, and I am simply absorbing my own body weight mostly to my knees. I would say 70% here and 30% here. So just this motion. Again, keeping our feet just a little bit wider than the shoulder width, putting our left foot close to the ball, and from here, we pump our body to get out. Now, you don't have to stand so tall where your left foot comes off the ground too high. What we want to do is we just want to be kind of try and stay connected to the ground with our toes. But obviously, we come off the ground, but my toes, you can see my toes are slightly extending. Now, this happens because I am pushing off the ground from my toes, not necessarily from the whole foot, right? It's our toes. So simple as that. And the common mistake I see when we are doing this is, as we are coming down to the ground, the other foot, the plant foot, actually comes off the ground, or even tilting like this. This is not what we want. We want to stay connected to this ground here. And the reason is, as we pump and get up, we want to use this plant foot as a leverage to explode out of the space. But if my plant foot comes off the ground, so there, then I would have to plant and then get going, which might not seem much, but in the game speed of things, these little moments count a lot. So again, there, and I use this to come up and we take the touch. Now the next common mistake I see is when players are pumping down and coming up to go out into a new space, I see the plant foot coming here and then going over there. Again, do your best not to move your plant foot. What we want to do, again, is pump down and up and just take the ball as you go. So let's do this a few times. Maybe you can practice pumping 2-3 times, and as you get up, you take the ball. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, and out. Now you can see it's not pumping up and then taking the touch. It's more of taking the touch as you're getting up. So don't finish your pumping motion just yet before the touch. What you do is pump down, up, pump down, and up to take the touch. Leave the ball to the side. 1, 2, and out. So you might even go a short bounce, a long bounce, a short bounce, a long bounce, and out. Now you can see my arm is always kind of up here. And that is because with our arms down here, it's actually very difficult for us to be explosive. It's almost like sprinters being ready to run. Their arms are always in the athletic position, and it is the same thing. For us to be explosive, we need to learn how to use our arms accordingly. So far the basics we have learned is keeping our feet wide, keeping the ball between our 2 feet, contacting foot close to the ball, so that way we can pump. And when we pump, our body weight is always on the toes, ankle, and mostly to the knee. Our heel does not touch the ground. Heel is ideally off. And even if it does touch the ground slightly, make sure your body weight is shifting forward. So that way my shoulder can drop. And actually, it can even help me to lean slightly forward, which will have the defender just drop back ever so slightly, because he or she has to worry about defending the space in the back. And that's going to help me to get a little bit more of a separation to enter the new space and be explosive. You might ask the question, when we pump, do we go far away or do we come close to the ball? And I said close to the ball, and here's the reason why. The reason why we don't want to go far away is because my next touch cannot come fast enough compared to keeping the foot here. But we have to ask when this skill is being used a lot. It mostly is a 1v1 situation in the attacking half of the field as a winger. That is when the skill is most effectively used. And therefore, when it's a 1v1 situation, not necessarily going at a really fast pace, but rather more like a 1v1 sort of a standoff situation. So things are moving rather slowly. 2 players are trying to figure each other out and beat each other on the timing. And therefore, when we pump, we keep the ball here very close to the ball. So that way, if the poke or the tackle decides to come, what I can do is from here, slight touch, and I can get out. But the problem rises if I plant wide and I would have to travel this much to take the next touch. Sometimes the defender can be really quick with his pokes or her pokes, and we just are not able to take that touch quick enough. So when you pump, keep it tight to the ball, so that way you're always easy to take the touch. And when you do that type of little flick of a touch, all you need to do is simply rotate your ankle to hit the ball and get used to that motion. So you can pump, you can pump, you can pump, and a little flick to get on the ball. That was our stationary. Now let's start to learn how to dribble and then effectively execute the technique. Now the dribbling part is going to be very similar to our technique that we had just learned. What we are going to do, a key thing here is going to be, can you lean as much as you can? So you have to shift all of your weight to one side, and you can just see my other foot just slightly lifting. It's almost like you're swaying, right? You're leaning to one side and you're almost falling, and you're just simply catching yourself. Now with that concept, we keep the foot close to the ball again, because that's what we are going to be dragging the ball with. And we are going to lead our body with our front foot, which is our plant foot, in this case, my right foot, and we'll be going to my right here. So notice how I'm just slightly dragging the ball. I am slightly dragging the ball to my right, keeping the feet wide apart. Again, I am leaning to my side, keeping the feet wide. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and... Now when you do this, try and stay attached to the ball for as long as you can. So drag, you're almost like scraping the ball, right? That's the technique. So 1, 2, 3. Notice how I lean. Common mistakes we'll find on this one are, when we touch the ball, our left foot tends to come in front of my right foot, so it looks like I'm crossing my feet. We do not want to cross the feet. We want to keep our feet wide open. And secondly, we are taking the touch a little too heavy, and the ball keeps on creeping in front of my right foot, and naturally that brings my contacting foot in front of my plant foot. And again, we want to avoid that. And the third one is not leaning enough. If we don't lean enough, it just looks like this. You have to lead the movement with your front foot pointing, the space, and our shoulders tilting. And because of that motion, it becomes a drag. So simply by leaning, look what happens. I'm not even going anywhere. Simply by leaning, look what happens to the ball if I just stay attached. Right, it just comes with. That's the concept. You have to lean as much as you can. From there, you simply keep your feet wide and drag. So tilt your body, lead with the motion. And the last common mistake I tend to see, especially people who are not as coordinated or brand new to the game, is not dropping the left foot. So it becomes like this. So now that we had learned how to dribble with the ball, what we are going to do is 2, 3, pump, and there, 3 and pump and get out. So let's try this again. So we keep our feet wide, drag 1, 2, maybe pump, drag, pump, and out. Drag, 2, little pump, 1, 2, and out. So it is not about how fast I go from the start. It's about how slow I can go. Because if I go slow, defender has to slow down, and that's when I can catch him off guard. So when a player effectively uses this technique, what we can see is speed 1 being the slowest and speed 100 being the fastest. That player can actually hit that range up and down really quickly. So slow to fast, slow to fast, slow to fast. And it's the common mistake that we see when players are learning this technique. We tend to go too fast and then we just can't get fast enough because that player is already moving fast enough and just don't have the enough range of speed to hit that maximum speed again. So go slow, give a little pump, and then you get out with your top speed. So we went over how to dribble with this technique as well. Now you just might be asking, well, we are pumping with our left and carrying the ball with our inside. Is there a different way to get out? And obviously, there are hundreds of different ways to get out. The foundation of this technique is going to be the pump and leaning to drag, right? And if that is the base, anything that happens from that base or that start, that foundation, is totally up to you. So for instance, what we can do is we can drag, we can pump, then we can go for scissors and go out with the right foot outside. Maybe you can even go pump and throw yourself and then reset, or make it pass or dribble inside. I would even go and say options are infinite, right? Unfortunately, I have a lot of left knee pain, so I can't exactly go on to show you more examples. But this is why I use my Mujo muscle pain cream. I've been using it nearly every day now for the past a few weeks. It's been helping me greatly. My pain's not completely gone, but it definitely helps me for the next several hours, or at least, or maybe even throughout the day. So I've got just really bad joint pain here on the knees. But yeah, if you're someone like me that just has constant knee pain, hip pain, ankle pain due to lack of mobility, I would recommend checking out Mujo. My affiliate links are down below. You can get some discount on it. But yeah, if you need something like this, might as well support me as well. But good product. So I would say 1v1 situation, I would say this technique might be one of the most simple, easy to learn, easily executionable, easy to execute, and just really effective, especially because you are moving sideways, and that helps you to tilt your body left and right and shift your body weight. Very easy to manipulate the defender's body weight as well. It is definitely one of the skills that I like to overuse or abuse in the game, just because of how simple it is, right? So give it a go. If you're right-footed, it might be easier to go with the left, honestly. If you're left-footed, the other way around. But yeah, try both sides. And if you have any questions, if you need any other help, different topics you'd like me to cover, leave a comment. And I believe the next video might be how to attack with the defender in the back as a striker. Thanks for watching.